had this thing in my mind for, I don't know how, I mean, I had a note in my phone for a month or two, at least, that just said follow your heart, and I knew what I was going to talk about, and that was just that following your heart. I mean, no, it'd be a couple months now. It'd be like 3 or 4 months. Following your heart is always said to be this, like, yeah, follow your heart, like a good thing. Like, it's always like this positive, like, you'll just find the answers, just follow your heart. And that's dumb. That, like, it's not that way. What if your heart is stupid? What if your heart is really dumb? And, like, I don't know, there's this battle a lot of people have, and there's even like this Heart and Brain comic. Oh, I don't remember the name of the something Yeti. I don't remember the name of the person who does the comic. Anyway, but like, there's this always thing about like your mind and your heart or your soul or whatever, feelings, emotions versus logic and reasoning, and it's just not that simple. Like, especially when it comes to things like, let's just say the word mental illness and just say, let's say someone's bipolar or whatever, like that plays with brain chemicals that affect your emotional state. So it's not just like one thing, right? Like it's not just this thing versus that thing. It's not that simple. And so like following your heart, but if your heart is too impulsive, let's say, like, is that a brain thing, or is that an emotional thing, that your mood can fluctuate from one thing to the other so quickly or whatever, like, or so wildly? Like, it's just this difficult thing, because it's not, obviously it's not that easy. Otherwise people will be like, oh yeah, follow your heart. Okay, what is my heart? Let's figure that out, which isn't even easy sometimes, to figure out your own emotions and your own feelings about a certain thing. And then on top of that, let's say you do figure that out. Okay, well, I got that down. Now just do it. Now you just got to do it. And if everyone did that, and I mean, if it worked, everyone would do it, and then it would just life would be easy. Life would be easy. Like, that's just not how it works. Obviously, I keep saying obviously, but it's obvious to me, or it should be obvious to me, or to most people, or what have you, that there's a balance of heart and brain that needs to happen for you to function at a balanced level, at a regular level. I don't know what word to use. I don't want to use the word normal, but like, to be well balanced. Like, there's these two major things that you need to figure out how to play with, and how they're going to affect each other and affect your life and your decision making, and just your decision making process is basically what it is. And it's just not that simple. Like, sometimes you can make a pros and cons list, and sometimes that by itself is not very helpful. And then you'd be like, okay, well, yeah, like, you just got to follow your heart. Like, that's all you got to do, is just do that. Your heart wins every time. And it's like, no, it's not that way it works either. Sometimes you're deciding on, let's just use the word chemistry. And if we're talking about a romantic relationship, maybe, if you have chemistry with someone, let's just call that your heart. It's emotional, it's got feeling, it's not based on reason and logic. Oh man, there's this quote from the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And what is his name? Ulysses? I don't remember now, because I mean, it's the Odyssey is really what the movie is. But whatever. The character that George Clooney plays, I think it says it's what is the quote? It's a fool who looks for reason in the chambers of the human heart, or something like that. And anyway, I just remembered that, and I like that. But that's the thing, is let's say you're trying to weigh, there's reasons maybe why you shouldn't get into a certain relationship, or you should leave a certain relationship, or something like that, or committing to a certain level. And those reasons are there, but you're like, well, I don't know what's, like, my heart just tells me just do it, like, 'cause that feels good. Like, it feels good to just do things, because you know that in the moment those feelings will continue to be good. Like I said, if you were leaving a relationship, maybe to not leave it because it feels good to just be there every day, but then other times it feels not good, and then it's like, well, does it feel not good more than it feels good? Like, then you start playing with your brain, and the rationale comes in, and like the math sometimes comes in, and it's like, well, I feel worse more often than I feel good, or like the times I do feel worse are so bad, even though they're few and far between, that I just can't handle it from my own mental like health or whatever, right? Yeah, the following your heart thing is just, it's such an easy cop-out to just say, like, that's going to solve your problems, or that's going to be it's the be-all and end-all, like, you know? And it's just not the way it works. It's a balance, and that's what makes things so difficult. For me, I mean, I would assume that I am not the average when it comes to some things like this, because I have a really difficult time balancing my heart and mind. I would like to say that they are both very extreme, and therefore, like, I would like to say they're both balanced, but like most people would be like, oh, my heart is here, my mind is here in the center, and mine is like, no, they're both over here. Like, they're both at these extremes that balance out. It's like all the way here and all the way there, and it's just like, I mean, like, this is like 10 and this is like 10. It's not like negative 10 and plus 10, whatever. Anyway, and that's the other thing. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't even see what I'm doing right now. Anyway, it's like they're both at such extremes that I assumed they balanced out, but that's not how it works either, and it's just, it's really difficult. I just feel like sometimes I completely overanalyze things. Like, that's just a part of what I do sometimes, and that's maybe a character of anxiety, and like, I overanalyze things. I want to control things as much as possible. I start, you know, playing with logic and reasoning and rationale to try and figure things out, but at the same time, I blindly sometimes, I just, like, I'm in the moment with my heart, and I just, like, do that. And so when it comes to some things, it's like, well, I don't know what to do, because I'm aware that I'm like this, and if I'm aware of that, then it gets so meta, it gets so convoluted and just like layered, and it's just like, well, it's like one of those things where, like, well, that person knows that we know, but do they know that we know that they know? And then, like, you just keep adding layers onto it. Like, I'm aware that I'm like this, and because I'm aware of that, that enables me to somehow question and challenge my own decision-making process, but then it's just like an endless loop of doing that, and then I go nowhere. I mean, it's like, it'd be easier if I wasn't aware that I was like this, because then I would just make decisions. Because I really feel like sometimes I could beat something to death, and at the end of the day, I still have to make a choice. I still have to make a choice, and so often I find that I do not know what the choice is that is best for me. And then I think, well, okay, I guess I'll just go with my heart. And like, no, dude, like, sometimes your heart is wrong. Like, sometimes your heart, my heart is too optimistic. It is too, when it comes to things, I mean, this whole topic ranges across a whole bunch of different themes and choices and whatever. But if I want to talk about just like romantic relationships and love and whatever else, or even friendships and different types of relationships, like, my heart sometimes is way optimistic until a point, and then it's exactly the opposite. Anyway, it's a mess. And following your heart, again, is not like this, it's not a solution 100% of the time. Like, I don't ever want to say it to anyone as just like, hey, whenever you're in trouble, follow your heart. No, it's like, in this situation, maybe you should follow your heart on this one. In this situation, you should probably overanalyze, or you should analyze things to a healthy degree, and then come to a conclusion based off of more logic and rationale. Like, just the whole thing of just like, hey, you know what? Just follow your heart, man. Like, you'll be good. You'll be fine if you just follow your heart for the rest of your life. I don't think so. It depends on your heart. And mine is, I don't know why I did this. Mine is like this. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, I don't know. Let's see on another time.